Hello and welcome to YNWA Transfer News, your ultimate source for all Liverpool FC transfer news. Our first news is this. Hugo Ekitike problem Arne Slot must address as Liverpool question raised. Jeremy Aliadière has raised questions about the impact of Alexander Isak on Hugo Ekitike's role at Liverpool. The former Arsenal striker confessed that he would be discontented if he made a high-profile transfer to a club only to find himself competing with another forward. The Frenchman has had an impressive start, scoring 6 goals in 12 appearances across all competitions, including a goal against his former team Eintracht Frankfurt during Wednesday's 5-1 victory. Isak was chosen over his strike partner for the team's matches against Chelsea and Manchester United, as Arne Slot experienced his toughest period as a manager, with the Reds suffering 4 consecutive losses for the first time since 2014. Ekitike did feature in both games and attempted to make a difference, demonstrating moments of brilliance and posing a threat against the Red Devils. This season's discussion has been dominated by how the French international and Liverpool's acquisition from Newcastle can coexist in the same team. Isak's participation has been hindered by a disrupted preseason following his forced departure from Newcastle. However, Aliadière, a French under-21 international who clinched the Premier League title with Arsenal, is of the opinion that Isak and the 23-year-old will play together, but voiced concerns regarding Ekitike. "Top player, absolutely a top player," he said, speaking to the Liverpool Echo via Whichbookie. "My question will be, will the arrival of Isak change something?" That's my question to Liverpool. You could buy Isak, a top player, but if I'm Ekitike, I'm saying, I'm on the bench, I'm not going to be very happy. I want to play games. I was playing every game before he arrived, and now I'm in competition with him. I think they will play together at some point, but I'd be disappointed being on the bench. I'd want to play every single game. I'd say, I proved last year that I was a goal scorer, and I could score goals, so it's how he will manage. The Sweden international picked up a groin problem against Frankfurt and remains doubtful for this weekend's fixture, which could provide Ekitike with an opportunity for an extended run following his explosive start to the campaign. Aliadière continued, "It all depends. Having competition is always good. You need competition, and as long as it's fair and not related to the price tag or how much you've paid for Ekitike or Isak, because if you start playing Isak over him because he's worth more money, then I'd be a bit disappointed. Against Manchester United, he came on, and the first 2 or 3 balls, he's not looking to pass the ball or play for anyone apart from himself. Is that something he would have done if he started every game? I'm not sure. I saw him shooting from 30 yards, and I'm thinking, you might have made a better pass there. But because he's come on, he's trying to impress and have an impact. It's a little bit selfish in some ways. I think is Liverpool going to create that selfishness between both to prove who is better and who is starting? That's competition for the manager to deal with." Glen Johnson believes Arne Slot decision has exposed a weakness for Liverpool. Arne Slot and his side have endured a turbulent season so far. After initially winning their first 7 games in all competitions, the Reds then lost 4 in a row, as something began to go drastically wrong. New signings weren't clicking, and those that were performing at the start of the campaign began to fall out of form. As expected, Arne Slot then came under significant criticism as pressure began to mount on the Dutchman. It was the first real period of struggle for Jurgen Klopp's successor. In the pre-match and post-match press conferences following the defeats, Slot was heavily questioned, and former Liverpool defender Glen Johnson believes that Arne Slot has made a mistake in pinpointing the way sides set up against Liverpool, as that has, in turn, revealed their weakness. Specifically, after the Manchester United loss, Arne Slot was quick to take aim at Ruben Amorim's approach following the game, as they set up in a low block and utilized long balls. Then, following the win over Eintracht Frankfurt in the Champions League, Slot admitted his side had been better with dealing with aerial balls into the box. Arne Slot has always been a very honest man and says it how it is, but Glen Johnson believes talking about Liverpool's style of play should have stayed private. Speaking to ASODS.com, Johnson said, Every team has their own style, and you play with what you've got. Everyone wants to play football in terms of what we call tiki-taka, which is great. But if you're susceptible against long balls, people are going to see that and try to exploit it. These days, everyone's got their own styles. The game's changing really quick. People need to do whatever they can to get an advantage on their opponents, and if they think going long and attacking certain players in certain areas helps, teams are going to do that. Usually, the managers take the bullet and protect their players, but at the same time, managers will also do what they think will get the best reaction out of their players. So, if that means pointing the finger at them every now and then, if he's right, then it's okay. Of course, you still need to make sure it's a happy camp and make sure it's constructive what you're actually trying to do rather than dissecting yourself from the team. I'm sure he's doing what he thinks is right, but in my experience, it's always better to have those battles inside the camp and keep it in the dressing room. Alexander Isak told how he has single-handedly brought Liverpool down this season. Liverpool are likely to be without Alexander Isak for the game against Brentford after his Champions League injury. The Swedish striker had gone off with a groin injury at half-time during the Reds' European clash against Eintracht Frankfurt and did not get the opportunity to get on the score sheet in a 5-1 thrashing of the hosts. So far this season, the $125 million signing has not produced the goods for the team yet, with 1 goal and assist in all competitions, which has made some feel like the investment is not worth it in the short term. Isak moved from Newcastle United in the summer after a shambolic transfer saga, which saw the player not take part in pre-season and the club not engage with most offers from Liverpool. While fans of the Magpies will be rejoicing in his slow start at his new club, there is still time for the player to be incredible, given his record on Tyneside. Chris Sutton says Alexander Isak has affected Liverpool. However, there have to be conversations over how the 26-year-old has been integrated into this squad and the number of starts over a player like Hugo Ekitike, even if he is trying to get back up to match fitness. The whole situation with the star has seen pundit Chris Sutton come out as critical of how the Sweden international has played this year and the problems surrounding his move to Merseyside. Sutton, in his prediction for the Brentford game, highlighted him as one of the key issues with this side because his fitness levels have not been good enough to help the Reds in the final third. Writing for BBC Sport, he explained, Liverpool will probably be without Alexander Isak after he was injured against Eintracht Frankfurt on Wednesday. It feels like what has happened to him is a case of you reap what you sow. Isak has been short of full fitness and especially sharpness all season anyway, and he did not help himself there by missing training with Newcastle in order to try to force his move to Anfield through. He got what he wanted, but now he is trying to play catch-up instead of hitting the ground running because of the time he had off, and that is when you can pick up injuries. Isak is too good a player not to eventually start scoring goals, but this whole situation has affected Liverpool as a team too, because his lack of fitness is one of the reasons they have not clicked in the final third yet. Thank you for watching. Like and comment, subscribe.